5:14 this morning, and we're staying on top of breaking news. 8 people are in custody after a shooting at a Marietta apartment complex late last night.
Atlanta News First Joshua Skinner is live from the First Alert breaking news tracker. And Joshua, police are trying to sort out events that involved more than a dozen people.
Yeah, right now about 15 people as far as we know. Piecing it together is a good way to describe this. The shooting appears to have involved numerous parties and began at the Lakeside at Town Center apartment homes. That's in Marietta. Police tell us it's in an area where you don't usually see this kind of thing. It ended with 5 people being arrested, a few more being questioned. There might wind up being more arrests before it's all over, and it actually ended with a car fleeing the scene, slamming into a power pole, and then flipping over. Now, we don't know exactly how it all started, but Marietta police rushed to the apartments a little after 10 last night is what they tell us. They were responding to a shots fired call, multiple 911 callers describing a shooting, and a BMW sedan leaving the scene. Now, police quickly found and pursued that sedan, which ran into a power pole and flipped over. 5 people were in the vehicle. They have been taken into custody. Multiple guns were found. Police say that includes at least 1 rifle. Now, police still investigating that, and as I said, more arrests still possible. Now, at this point, police say the good news here, nobody was killed. However, multiple people after the shooting took place checked themselves into Kennestone apartment with wounds. We're not sure how serious those are, but police did say it appears that there have been no deaths in this. The relationship that those people have with the shooting, whether or not they were involved or just bystanders, remains unclear at this time. Several other people told police that there were bullets that flew into their apartments, but none of those people were struck. But again, police still trying to piece this together. More arrests, more people could be taken into custody, and police are still looking for people to question about what took place. So guys, right now we're going to head to that scene, find out more about it. But for now, reporting live, Joshua Skinner, Atlanta News First.